And welcome back to Club Conversations, Season 2, Episode 23, where we're talking about creative marketing pushing the boundaries of traditional campaigns. Today, we're looking at the exciting world of creative marketing campaigns and how breaking the mold can actually lead to unforgettable campaigns and measurable success. If you're ready to leave the cookie cutter approach behind, this episode is for you. Now, what are we going to talk about? Why does this matter? First, we're going to discuss how traditional marketing campaigns, while effective, can sometimes fall short in standing out, and creative campaigns allow brands to differentiate themselves in an oversaturated market. Welcome back to Club Conversations. We're excited you're here. Let's dive right into the episode. Now, what is the importance of creativity in marketing, right? The question gets asked, where do we turn to when it comes to creativity in marketing versus just following status quo and kind of what the go-to is right now in marketing, right? It's easier for us to follow trends, kind of do what everyone else is doing, and sometimes we forget to be creative when it comes to the marketing side. Now, we find a couple different things when it comes into the importance of creativity in marketing, but I find three things that really stand out. First, creativity grabs attention in a crowded marketplace. In the crowded marketplace, any way that you can stand out and build a little bit more attention, this brings a much better bang for your buck when it comes to marketing. Second, building emotional connections with your audience is you're able to do this by using creativity in your marketing. And third, it helps brands adapt to cultural and technological shifts, which is extremely important. And obviously I can't talk today, so I must not have any creativity in my brain. Now, for example, one of the things that we found when it comes to creativity and marketing is Burger King's Whopper Detour campaign. They use geofencing to direct customers to McDonald's locations to unlock a 1 cent Whopper deal. If you haven't heard about this, you need to look it up. Absolutely incredible about what they did, and shows a little bit of creativity and a little bit of buzz around a campaign around their Whopper that provided a lot of opportunities for growth when it comes to their marketing. Now, secondly, the most important part when we talk about creativity in marketing is how do we break down barriers, right? What does it actually mean to push boundaries? And how do we look at the risk versus how do we embrace new mediums? And how do we build this, right? So, first, we need to redefine risk, right? Creative marketing, I'd like to put this out there. Creative marketing does not mean being reckless, it means thinking differently. I think a lot of brands, when we talk about creativity and marketing, we find it as an excuse for us to be reckless, for us to do things that maybe aren't traditional. And we need to make sure that we're being very careful that we're thinking differently and not recklessly. Now, the second piece about redefining the risk whenever we're talking about pushing boundaries is understanding your audience's values and experimenting within their comfort zones, right? Because we need to understand what is your audience willing to tolerate, what are their values, and how far is too far without alienating your audience or making them not like your brand anymore. We see this a lot within a lot of our clients that do a lot of local marketing where they might be a little bit more trying to be viral or trying to go a little trendy. What you find is to your face, your customers are going to talk about how great your content is, how funny it is, how different it is. But what you'll find is within more customer research, what those people are saying behind your back is actually that the content is embarrassing, that it doesn't resonate with them, that it's a little too off the walls, or it pushes the boundaries a little bit too much. So we need to be very careful on the marketing side that we are careful of the risk of what we're doing and that we don't push the risk too hard. Now, the second piece to breaking the barriers and pushing boundaries is embracing new mediums, right? So if you have the ability to explore different channels, we've seen a couple clients go in directions such as AR, VR campaigns, interactive content, and gamification, which is an extremely important medium. All three are extremely important mediums that I think are going to become a little bit more trendy, right? They're a little bit more costly to develop content or ways in which you embrace these mediums and push out content, but they're really fascinating on how you can actually use them. And secondly, the most common thing that we're seeing is, platforms like TikTok, Twitch, emerging apps like that. We're finding a lot of marketing is being done on these apps where they're pushing the boundaries and sometimes going a little too far, and sometimes they're fitting that risk profile that they're looking for. Now, one of my favorite examples when it comes to VR is there's a campaign that Nike did called Reactland, and it used VR in an immersive running game to showcase its new shoe technology, which I thought was really fascinating. And again, if you want to look more into that, highly recommend looking at their Reactland campaign. Now, when it comes to developing creativity and marketing, the question then kind of comes, how do we develop a creative marketing campaign, right? So we want to be creative, but how do we create an actual campaign? Well, there's three different steps that I would take, broadly speaking, if I'm in a marketing department and I'm wanting to create a creative marketing campaign. First, you need to start with a clear objective, right? So in this stage, we need to identify, what do we want to achieve? Brand awareness, engagement, sales, do a traffic driving. What does this look like? And in my opinion, creativity should serve the goal and not overshadow it. Now, secondly, we need to look at brainstorming techniques. We need to use reverse thinking and start with the opposite of a typical idea and work backwards. I highly recommend looking outside your industry for inspiration and encourage open collaboration, because in the beginning, no idea is too wild at first, right? We might want to clarify on visions, or we might want to weed out some ideas. But when we're talking about ideas, let's let the juices flow. Let's get some ideas out there and understand what's going to work and what's not. Now, on the last piece of how you can develop a creative marketing campaign, in my opinion, you need to test the concept, right? A lot of brands miss the mark on this. They create a clear objective, they do brainstorming, they put together the concept, and then they roll with that without any sort of testing to understand, will your audience react well to this and resonate well with this? So this is going to be where we recommend starting with a small audience, maybe a campaign to gauge interest, and use feedback to refine and scale your campaign, taking maybe some boundaries, understanding where those are, where you can maybe tailor the campaign just to be a little bit more within the boundaries of what your customers are looking for. Now, I have identified 3 creative campaign examples that I wanted to share with you that I thought would be really good real world creative campaigns that would be really great for research for business owners just to look at. First, the Spotify Wrapped. Seeing personalized content, showing users their listening habits turned into a viral yearly event. If you haven't noticed, your Instagram feed and end of year, beginning of year is filled with Spotify Wrapped. It's absolutely incredible to see what people are listening to. Thought it was absolutely incredible. Now, Old Spice, as our second example, the man you could smell like, or the man your man could smell like, sorry, was a fascinating campaign that actually lasted for quite some time. They used witty, absurd humor that revitalized the brand's image and sales. And as you know, Old Spice was kind of an old school thing, and it's actually revitalized to where they're now another household brand that has actually become more popular. And it's not just a middle school thing. There's actually a lot of people using Old Spice now. Now, the third example is the AILS Ice Bucket Challenge. This one died in trending. It's not as viral anymore, but for quite some time, they were actually able to build a viral campaign leveraging user-generated content for a cause, which in my opinion was an absolutely incredible cause, and it generated a lot of exposure, which was great. Now, when we're looking at those 3 real-world creative campaign examples, there's a lot more out there, but it's kind of a good stepping stone for us to look. What are companies doing to create creative ad campaigns? What are they doing? How are they coming up with these ideas? Use those to kind of leverage off of and start researching what other companies are using creative marketing campaigns and how are they doing it well. Now, there's 2 different challenges that we have to overcome in creative marketing. One being there are some common pitfalls that we have to be careful of, such as maybe we're too edgy or polarizing and we alienate our audience. Maybe we lose sight of our brand's core messaging. Those 2 things can be very common pitfalls that I see a lot of brands rolling into. Now, when it comes to solutions for these pitfalls and when we overcome challenges, we need to validate ideas through surveys or focus groups, or maybe we pitch the ideas off of those close to us, close audience members. And we need to align creativity with brand values and audience expectations, which is extremely important. Now, as we wrap up this episode, there's a couple key takeaways that I highly recommend. If you haven't listened to anything that I've said, these 3 things take home with you. First, creative marketing is about pushing boundaries, not abandoning strategy. 2, take inspiration from unconventional ideas, but always align them with your goals. And 3, testing and refining are critical to success. Now, are you ready to elevate your marketing game? I encourage you to challenge yourself to think outside the box and embrace creativity in your next campaign. I want to know what's your favorite creative campaign in the comments on social media, about what you found important, what's your favorite creative campaign, and how are you leveraging it in your business. Now, thanks for joining us on this inspiring episode of Club Conversations. Don't forget to subscribe for more actionable insights on all things marketing, and we'll see you next time.